This week on The Cone, we are talking about those adorable smush-faced breeds, and we are laying bare their dark secrets. Let's go.
And now, the vet who gets really excited when someone new comes to visit, Dr. Andy Roark.
When I talk about the smush-faced dogs, I'm talking about the brachycephalic breeds like the English Bulldog, the Boston Terrier, the Frenchie, the Shih Tzu, the Lhasa Apso, the Boxer, any of those short-nosed, flat-faced dog breeds. If you want a full list of the brachycephalic breeds, I got you right here. Let me say this right up front. I love these little dogs. It is not hard to see why they are so popular, and they have hearts of gold and they're wonderful companions. Still, whether you're trying to decide if one of these dogs is right for you, or if you just want to make sure you're taking the best care of your squish-faced companion possible, there are things that you need to know. Let's talk about 5 of them. Look, they're adorable, but it's just important to realize that these squish-faced dogs don't look the way they do because of good old-fashioned natural selection. If we put a picture of a pug up next to its ancestral wolf, you might notice some differences. The smush-faced dogs have been made this way by selective breeding, not evolution happening in nature. That's why they have some weird problems that you might not necessarily expect, but we need to know about. Smush-faced dogs are prone to a condition called Brachycephalic Syndrome. Brachycephalic Syndrome is made up of 4 parts, okay? Number 1, elongated soft palate. They've got a long, flabby part in the back of their neck, like the part that makes you snore, is longer than it should be in these guys. Hypoplastic trachea is a narrow little windpipe. They have stenotic nares, which means their nose holes are really tiny. And if you look at them, you'll see these oftentimes, these are little bitty slits of a nose. And the last part is what's called everted laryngeal saccules. There are these sacs that are in the larynx, like the voice box. And they're supposed to be turned in like pockets in your pants. If you don't have big nose holes and it's hard to breathe, honestly, you can cause those things to suck outwards, like picture your pockets being turned outwards. That's what happens. And so they have these sacs that should be tucked away, but they're pulled out into the windpipe, and now they're causing extra problems. Those are the 4 pieces of Brachycephalic Syndrome. You can see how these 4 conditions would make breathing really hard. It turns out the shorter the snout, the higher the chances of having Brachycephalic Syndrome and having these breathing problems. Because of the flatness of their faces, these dogs can also have eye problems. You think about their eyes being kind of bulged out. That's because their faces are squished. The condition that they can have is called Brachycephalic Ocular Syndrome. Essentially, because these guys have eyes that bulge out, they're at a higher risk of getting injury, getting scratched, because their eyes are sticking out there. So they're kind of a bigger target for little things that might poke them. Their eyelids tend to do weird stuff, and they have eyelashes that will maybe poke the wrong way, and we get eye irritation that's not normal. And the last thing is some of these guys are honestly not able to close their eyelids the whole way. So we have problems keeping the eyes wet, and we have tear production problems. Those wrinkles on the face are adorable, but know that they can cause problems. They have chafing and irritation if they rub. Honestly, those wrinkles can also rub against the eye. Remember the bulging eyes. And they can cause eye problems. This is just something we need to pay attention to when we're looking at wrinkles and looking at dogs. Because of their big heads, some of these dogs have problems giving natural birth and have litters that have to be delivered by C-section. Also, their, I don't want to say oddly shaped head, but the shape of their head can make it more likely that their teeth will grow in weird ways that can cause problems that have to be fixed. So those are the weirdnesses that you should know about. Again, I'm not hating on these guys at all. I just want you to have all the info and just think about this when you're looking at the smush-faced breeds. Now, what can we do for these guys? Use a harness. These guys may have problems breathing. Let's not put anything around their neck if we don't need to. A harness works great for walking and helping them get where they need to go. Pay attention to muzzle length. Respectable breeders are all over this, and they're paying attention and understand the benefits of a longer snout as far as breathing and the other problems that we discussed. Puppy mills, they don't care. They want the best Instagram face that they can get. And so know what you're looking for, know what's important, and pay attention to that stuff. Don't let them get hot. Dogs cool themselves down in a large part by panting. Panting when you've got a tiny little airway and nose holes that are itty bitty and some saccules and this long soft palate dangling down in the back of your mouth, that's a bad scenario. These dogs can get into a lot of trouble really quickly, and heat stroke is a big problem. We've got to keep these guys cool. Don't let them get overweight. Being overweight makes all the problems that we're talking about worse. They get hotter, they need more oxygen, the airways are smaller, the folds are bigger, and there's more space and they're more likely to chafe and rub, all that stuff. Keep these guys thin. It will make a bigger difference than anything else as far as their quality of life. Consider pet insurance. If you think that your friend might have issues in the future, think about getting him or her pet insurance so that you are covered if you end up with issues you have to manage in the long term. You'll be glad you have it. Guys, talk to your vet about any problems that you see. There are things that we can change in their lifestyle or their diet that can make a huge difference. Also, some of these pets may really benefit from surgery to open up those nostrils, to make that soft palate more manageable. Think about something that would help them breathe and how much of a difference that could make. There are things that we can do. Stay in touch with your veterinarian and talk about what you're seeing and how your buddy is doing. And that is our show. Again, thanks for letting me talk to you about these little smoosh-faced guys. I love them. They are wonderful dogs. I just want everybody to know all the information going in. I think the best thing that can happen for them is that we know as much as we can about them. The best thing that can happen for prospective dog owners is they know what they're getting into and what challenges they might be facing so they can get the best friend possible. If you have one of these dogs and you love them, tell me about them in the comments. I love to hear your joy. Guys, take care of yourselves and let's be the people that our pets deserve.
Today's episode of Cone of Shame brought to you by Petplan Pet Insurance.